ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
On the issue of what is a Department of Justice investigation, as I understand it, the President is a strong defender of the First Amendment and a firm believer in the need for the press to be unfettered in its ability to conduct investigative reporting and facilitate a free flow of information. He also, of course, recognizes the need for the Justice Department to investigate alleged criminal activity without undue influence. And as I said yesterday in my statement, other than press reports, we have no knowledge of any attempt by the Justice Department to seek phone records of the Associated Press. We are not involved at the White House in any decisions made in connection with ongoing criminal investigations, as those matters are handled appropriately by the Justice Department, independently.
All right, welcome, folks, to the Steve Malzberg Show as we kick off the Tuesday edition. That was Jay Carney about an hour ago at the White House press briefing. We'll let you hear what Attorney General Eric Holder had to say, but specifically, he not only is recused from this investigation of what happened with the Justice Department and the AP, but he had nothing to do with signing the subpoena to get those telephone records from the AP. So says Eric Holder. He had recused himself because the case involved national security. The FBI had talked to him about it, so he recused himself, and that subpoena was allegedly gained from the number 2 man in the Justice Department. Joining us now to talk about all this is our friend Judy Miller. And Judy Miller, of course, now Manhattan Institute fellow, Newsmax contributor, wrote a great piece for Newsmax called Obama's AP Probe Sets Dangerous Precedent. And Judy, welcome again.
Hi, how are you?
Great, great. And of course, we need to point out, to put this in context, that you spent 85 days in jail in 2005 for protecting your sources, and you had your telephone records seized and tried to prevent it, and was unsuccessful in 2006. So with that as the backdrop, what do you make of what we now know after Carney and Holder?
Well, I think this is truly an astonishing development. What it means is that the most massive document seizure of a news organization in history was authorized by a deputy attorney general because for some inexplicable reason, the attorney general himself was interviewed by the FBI in connection with this criminal investigation. It boggles the mind.
Yeah. We're talking about James Cole, who went ahead and got the subpoena supposedly, but I still can't figure out why the Attorney General, if this was about a plot to bomb an airliner, and as we heard yesterday or speculated yesterday when the story first broke, it was reported that the AP had agreed to withhold the story until the case was broken, and then the White House wanted them, or someone wanted them, to hold it even longer, and at that point they said no. So I don't. Well,
according to the AP, the reason they didn't want to hold it is that it was the White House's desire to present the information once the threat to national security had passed.
Right.
And that doesn't pass the smell test. I mean, what they basically said is, now that you've played ball with us, you're not going to get the story that you had before anybody else had it. Because we want to present it.
And how is it a national? I mean,
I'm confused. According to, by the way, Steve, this is according to the AP.
Right.
I mean, that's their version.
And I'm confused because if the case had been busted, and the New York Times then the AP wanted to then run the story, when did they initiate these phone records purge? Was it while the threat still existed? After the threat ended? I mean, we don't even know, right?
Look, what we do know is that after the government seizes records in this fashion, rather than go to an individual and say, we want your telephone records, and then you start negotiating. Once it's done that, it has 90 days to notify the news organization that this is what it's done. So it really means that all of this has happened within fairly recently.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No,
that the plot thickens is all we can say.
right, and this Holder thing is really bizarre. I want to get to your piece and the points you make, but let's listen, Chad, to Eric Holder. He talks about two aspects here. Let's give a listen.
2012, that I'd been interviewed by the FBI in connection with this matter, and to avoid the appearance of a potential conflict of interest, and to make sure that the investigation was seen as independent, I recused myself from this matter. We'll get to you exactly when that happened. It was early on in the investigation. This matter has thereafter been conducted by the U.S. Attorney here in Washington, D.C., under the supervision of the Deputy Attorney General. The Deputy Attorney General would have been the one who ultimately had to authorize the subpoena that went to the AP. This was a very serious leak, and a very, very serious leak. I've been a prosecutor since 1976, and I have to say that this is among, if not the most serious, it is within the top 2 or 3 most serious leaks that I've ever seen. It put the American people at risk, and that is not hyperbole. It put the American people at risk.
All right. What do you make of all this?
Well, clearly, if you had just sanctioned, or if you had not disapproved a telephone seizure records of this kind, you would want to stress that the reason you had done it was national security and a real and present threat. It's just very hard for an outsider looking at the story that the AP wrote and looking at the scope of this request that an outsider would come to the conclusion that such a request was justified. Look, they not only got the records of the 5 individuals who were involved in reporting the May 7th story, they also got the telephone records of everyone who was in one of those main offices at the AP, who was at the House Gallery. Reporters go, AP reporters go in and out of there. They got home, cell, office, and these office records, and the AP estimates loosely, they're not sure yet how many people were compromised, records were compromised, but they assume it could be as many as 100. It's very hard to imagine that 100 people should have their privacy invaded, their records compromised by a leak. I mean, it could happen. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying it wasn't justified, but by what we know now, all we know is that it is this kind of a seizure is unprecedented in American history. So all I can say is they better have a darn good reason for having done it.
Right.
And I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, and the fact that the Attorney General says that it wasn't him who signed the subpoena makes it even more egregious in your view, and in my view as well, that a second level, so to speak, a person could conduct this. And the White House, claims ignorance. They claimed ignorance on the IRS. They claimed ignorance with this. I know the Justice Department is independent, but it wasn't the White House being investigated here. I mean, how is it possible that the White House had no inkling of this?
If it was, that's another thing that doesn't compute.
I mean, this is the greatest leak.
This is the greatest, this leak.
Right, the greatest leak in our history.
Threat.
Yeah.
One of the greatest threats he's ever seen. How is it possible that no one at the White House knew about it?
Well,
how is it possible that it wouldn't rise to the level of the White House or Jay Carney or the president if it's so serious? There's just a lot that doesn't make sense here. And, Steve, coming on the heels of the Benghazi fiasco and the IRS scandal, which the president himself pronounced outrageous, this administration's credibility is not high at the moment. So I hope that they're going to start releasing information about this quickly, because at the moment, reporters just have a lot of very legitimate questions to ask.
We're talking to Judy Miller here on the Steve Malzberg Show. When you heard this story break yesterday, I know you immediately started research and started writing this great piece that's at newsmax.com, but you had to harken back to your own situation and your own time in jail and your own personal records, no?
Well, yes. Well, while I was in jail and while I was fighting to stay out of jail, and even after I came out of jail, we were still arguing over whether or not the government would get my records, my telephone records, cell, home, and office, in a totally separate leak investigation. So this went on for years, and in the end, because of the 2-to-1 ruling in a federal district court, we lost. So the New York Times records and mine and that of Phil Sheenan, my colleague at the Times, all of our records went over to the Justice Department, and nothing ever came of it, except that our privacy and our ability to work as journalists was made more difficult.
All right, so let me ask you. I know you're not an attorney, at least not that I know
not,
of.
Okay. Not even honorary.
Okay. What were besides the fact that it seems like an outrage on the surface and you know, unprecedented as you put it, certainly. Do you believe that laws were broken here?
I don't know. I think it's much too early to say anything like that. And, you know, I'm certain that the Attorney General did whatever he did, advised by legal counsel, since he has access to lawyers.
Yeah.
I don't think we know yet. Just as I don't think we know whether or not the changes that were made to the talking points were made for reasons of bureaucratic butt covering or to change a political narrative. We just don't know. These are questions that journalists should be asking, that many mainstream reporters haven't been asking, but I think that now, because of events like this, they're being forced to ask, and I'm glad they're asking.
And the IRS, we haven't touched on that yet.
Well, that's just scandalous, and the president himself had to say he was outraged by it. I'm glad, by the way, the president said that. I think that Susan Collins was right, that he had to address that issue personally. This is one of these institutions that Americans turn to with trust and confidence that records and sensitive information will not be abused or shared or misused, and this was a blatant example of it. But even here, we have an instance in which initially the department, the agency, tried to fob this off as being the work of low-level employees,
right,
but
yeah.
It turns out that supervisors knew about it for some time, and once again, more questions need to be asked.
Yeah, and again, you know, when the White House says, you know, the president found out about yesterday's events on the plane when the news broke, and when they say that the president found out about the IRS scandal, quote unquote, that's my terminology, through the news on Friday, like everybody else, when that's been, as we find out now, like you said, going on for years, and someone in the White House did have knowledge of it. It never got to the president, but someone in the White House counsel did know that this was a problem. So, I mean, it just seems to me, as granted an Obama critic, but even as a person with common sense, how could higher level people in the White House, maybe even the president, not have an inkling of these things?
Well, you know, the president is a busy person, and
I know golf and basketball.
No,
I understand.
I mean, it's easy to take pot shots at that, and I'm glad he's getting a little relaxation. But these are terribly difficult jobs, crammed with literally, you know, issues of grave national security, of international relations, of domestic tranquility, and it's very hard to say he ought to be aware of everything. But in an instance like this, with respect to the AP,
right,
when you have a precedent-making seizure with no effort to try and secure the news organization's cooperation in advance, when you take this draconian step, I think I would have felt better personally if someone at the White House had at least been aware of it.
Absolutely. All right, Judy, thank you so much. Appreciate it as always.
Thank you, Steve.
Take care. Bye-bye. Judy Miller, ladies and gentlemen. Read her piece at newsmax.com. And the second I got home yesterday, first thing I did when I walked in the door was call Judy Miller, because who better than she to talk about this issue after she, you know, spent all that time in jail. You know, it just was a natural, and she wrote a great piece on it. But she said it stinks to high heaven in many respects, and I agree. Something, or she said something smells rotten, whatever she said. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Eric Holder basically throwing up his hands and saying, I wasn't involved in any of that. I didn't sign the subpoena, and I don't know what was in the subpoena. I mean, come on. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. All right, we're coming back because we're just getting started at the bottom of the hour. Alveda King joins us, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to talk about the verdict in the Gosnell trial and all that straight ahead right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency.
Do you know the number one cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-910-3470. That's 1-800-910-3470. Call 1-800-910-3470.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
Obamacare. President Obama's massive health care law is taking effect this year. With over 15,000 pages of regulations, few even know what it means. Now, the Obamacare Survival Guide by Nick Tate gives you the shocking facts about this law. It's a step-by-step guide on how you can protect yourself. Already the New York Times bestseller, every American needs to get the Obamacare Survival Guide and find out about the new taxes, hidden fees, fines, Medicare changes, business rules, and why doctor shortages are likely. Donald Trump says the Obamacare Survival Guide is a must-read for anyone worried about getting good health care for themselves or their employees. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's at bookstores or get our special offer at Obamacare911.com and you'll save $15. Go now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We have such a great show planned for you. We've already started already, of course, with Judy Miller. Dr. Alveda King will be here. Niger Innes will join. Will join us to talk about the TeaParty.net. A group that he says was also given a hard time by the IRS. He's a spokesman for them. Byron York, chief political correspondent for the Washington Examiner, joins us. We'll have Glenn Kessler, the fact check columnist for the Washington Post, gave Obama 4 Pinocchios for what he said yesterday at that press conference about what he said about the Benghazi terrorist attack. You're not going to want to miss that. Rowan Scarborough, a national security correspondent for the Washington Times, will be here to talk about the false complaints of sexual assaults in the military. That's right. I said false complaints. That number is on the rise as well. So we'll talk about that. And Dr. Erika Schwartz will be here to talk about Angelina Jolie. She had a double mastectomy because she found out she has the gene that makes her more prone to breast cancer. And her mother died, I think, at 58 of breast cancer. So she made the decision and has shocked the world by telling everyone that she had the double mastectomy done. So we'll talk about it with Dr. Erika Schwartz. So a full show ahead, as you could tell, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I want you to hear, though, this is going back 2009 on MSNBC, November 12th. This is Dr. Nancy Snyderman, NBC's Dr. Nancy Snyderman, talking about how, hey, you know, the IRS should investigate conservative groups like churches or the Catholic Church or Tea Parties. Give a listen to 24, okay? Cut 24.
The Catholic bishops appearing and having a political voice seems to be a most fundamental violation of church and state.
That's the first thing that I said. I don't know where the Internal Revenue Service is, but I hope they're paying attention.
Me too.
Yeah. Get the IRS on these Catholic bishops in the Catholic Church. Sick 'em. Sick 'em. Mr. President, sick 'em. And apparently that's what the IRS has been doing. They've been sicked on conservative groups, Jewish groups, pro-constitutional groups, anti-government groups. And I'm sure Nancy Snyderman is very happy about that, although she probably can't express it today because now she has to feign outrage with everybody else. But hey, did she ever call the IRS on Al Sharpton's National Action Network or any of the left-wing churches or pastors or any of that? How about Reverend Wright's church? Sounded very anti-American to me. All right, folks, I think we're hitting a break here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
This is a referral.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
Meet Jim. Like many of us, Jim enjoys a busy life. Between work, family, and friends, his days zip along. And Jim has the energy to tackle almost anything. But lately, Jim's get up and go has literally taken on a new meaning. Jim's always put focus on a full night's sleep, but it seems like these days, he's up and down to go to the bathroom so many times he can barely wake up in the morning. His prostate concerns have him sad, tired, and worried. Activities that were once enjoyable now seem like a chore for Jim. His golf game is at the mercy of his bathroom schedule. Family outings are planned around it too. Jim even has difficulty going to the bathroom. He's tried so many prostate remedies he can't keep them straight, and nothing ever seems to help. Then Jim found out about Prostate Revive, the all-natural dietary supplement specifically formulated for men, targeted towards improving and sustaining normal prostate function. Prostate Revive includes 15 super ingredients never combined before, including saw palmetto extract, beta-cytosterol, pomegranate fruit extract, selenium, and other high-quality nutrients. These targeted and all-natural ingredients promote healthy urinary flow and optimal prostate health. And the best part is, Prostate Revive was developed by a renowned medical doctor. Dr. David Brownstein personally formulated Prostate Revive with one goal in mind: to promote a healthy prostate gland. Thanks to Prostate Revive, Jim's got his life back. He gets a full night's sleep every night, and his friends and his wife can't believe he's the same guy. He has his old energy back, and no one has to wait for him. He doesn't even think about his prostate concerns anymore. Visit MedicSelect.com to take back your nights and improve your quality of life with Prostate Revive.
Are you tired of the insanity in talk radio? Well, there's a new...
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
Are you tired of the insanity in talk radio? Well, there's a new voice during the afternoon. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Yesterday, at around this time, we got the verdict in the Dr. Kermit Gosnell House of Horrors case. And thank God the verdict was guilty, guilty, guilty on 3 counts of first-degree murder in the killing of 3 little newborn babies and 1 count of manslaughter, unintentional manslaughter. And this man is now hopefully going to be sentenced to the death penalty, at least in my view. Joining us now is a woman who I have the privilege of interviewing many, many times, and she also wrote a piece on this for Newsmax, so you should check it out there. Dr. Alveda King, the niece of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. She's a pastoral associate, director of African American outreach at Priests for Life and Gospel of Life Ministries. Hello, doctor. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Can you hear me? I'm in D.C.
Yes,
Some of these old buildings are kind of, the signals are different.
No, we hear you. We hear you fine. We hear you fine.
Okay,
I'm thrilled to be talking to you. Your reaction when you heard the verdicts?
Well, my emotions, of course, were mixed because, I'm a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, too. So I was grateful for justice. I knew he should be prosecuted. I was glad that a jury of his own peers who pretty much were pro-abortion or at least neutral to the abortion issue were able to do something that showed that their consciences were served. So I was glad to see justice accomplished. I am honestly telling you, I'm not desiring the death penalty. I'm praying because, he goes to jail. He's 72. maybe somebody will drop a Bible on his head or in his lap while he's there. And at least he can pray, you know. I mean that sincerely.
I know.
Never, you don't want to lose people totally forever in eternity, you know. But I'm glad he's prosecuted. There are many gospels across America. He's not the exception. He is the rule. So I just wanted to point that out.
Well, no, I understand that. Now, you're going to be part of a movement that's already taking shape, and that is going to Washington to join others like Star Parker of CURE and Day Gardner of the National Black Profile Union and black ministers from around the country to lobby Congress and try to get hearings and laws passed that will protect the unborn and protect the born and protect women.
I am on Capitol Hill right now with Star, Day, Catherine, some of the men leaders in our movement. There are legislative aides here from members of Congress. We're demanding hearings. We are very serious that we want these clinics across this country investigated. We want real regulations, and we are not going to buy what NARAL, Planned Parenthood, and all of them are saying. They're saying that gospel is a throwback, and the problem with abortions are there are not enough opportunities, and they're still too costly, and these regulations are restricting them. That's not true, because they've had 40 years of abortion, 56 million aborted babies. 33% of those are black. And so they've had 40 years to say that they were going to do safe, legal, and rare. 40 years later, abortion is not safe. Abortion is not rare. It is legal. And then they said they wanted to reduce poverty. Well, if 40 years of abortion, 56 million people was going to reduce poverty, why are people still poor today?
No, you ask a lot of provocative questions, and I ask the same questions alongside of you. Let me ask you this: the media coverage of this trial has been documented to be almost non-existent except for certain outlets. Certainly the networks, ABC, virtually blank, the NBC, all of them, very, very scant coverage at best. What's your take on that?
Well, I'm really grateful that Newsmax actually gave me a bully tick that helped me to get the message out enough to begin to force that mainstream media that was looking the other way to begin to take a look. And you've got those types of outlets, and we're very grateful for that. Also, the social networks, the tweets, the Facebook, the bloggers. As we continue to ask the hard questions and put the information out, the mainstream media basically was put to shame. And so initially, when that gospel trial started, the media section was virtually empty. On the days that I went there, towards the end, before the defense rested its case, the media section was absolutely filled. And so the media was forced out, and actually over in Huffington Post, and I think somebody in USA Today admitted that the reason they had not been covering the story was because they did not want to hurt the abortion lobby. They admitted that. And so now there is more coverage. We are grateful. And I just say that we've got to keep getting this word out.
Well, absolutely. And we're talking to Dr. Alveda King here on the Steve Malzberg Show, the niece of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a pastoral associate and director of African American Outreach for Priests for Life. You know, even the New York Times, they covered the verdict and when it broke, and what did they say? And so many others in the media have done the same thing, that Dr. Gosnell was found guilty of killing fetuses.
They still try to use that word fetus, but you know, during the trial, the defense attorney kept going back. He'd say baby, then he'd say fetus, then he'd say baby, and then he says whatever they are. But he kept coming back to saying baby, and now he's accusing the media for bringing it too much attention and calling what they wanted to call the fetuses the babies. But in the Latin, the translation of fetus in the Latin is still baby. So these are little baby human beings, and that was proved strongly enough. There was no reasonable doubt on those 3 murder cases and also that involuntary manslaughter case.
Have you ever heard, I mean, you know, we've played the tapes of, there was a Planned Parenthood lobbyist down in Florida testifying before the Senate committee down there, and the senators asked, well, what if a baby is born alive? Because they're talking about a born alive protection bill as well in Florida. And this woman from Planned Parenthood, the lobbyist, she couldn't answer the most basic, common sense, human decency questions imaginable, like if the baby's breathing, if the baby's alive, don't you protect it? And she said, well, it'll be up to the doctor and the patient. And the senators they said, well, wouldn't the patient at that point be the baby that's breathing on the table? And she couldn't answer even that.
She refused to answer it. She couldn't hedge it.
Right.
So she finally refused to answer it. And there have been some other, even more heinous reactions. Like one lady thought she was being compassionate at one of the abortion clinics and says, well, if you deliver the baby in Lila Rose's expose, that Lila Rose did an undercover thing to ask those same questions about babies.
Yep. We had Lila on last week, yeah.
So she thought, the lady says, well, we'll just give you a lot of sheets and you can wrap it up in a sheet. Now, I mean, how traumatic is that to a mother who shouldn't be having an abortion in the first place? She's traumatized, her body's messed up, she's in pain, she's frightened, and then she has to take the baby and wrap it up in a bunch of sheets. I mean, what in the world? And there's a new documentary, Voice of John, and it talks about a baby who was dying after it was born alive and aborted. Jill Stanek, the popular pro-life nurse, had to leave Christ Mercy Hospital, where she was a nurse, because she refused to do that and abort the babies and leave them there dying. She just said no. So there's so much of that. But this is coming to the top. And here with these African-American leaders, as I say, hosted by Star Parker, there are quite a few of us here, over 50 of us. And our numbers are much stronger than that. That's just a representation. Each of us can bring many to the table. As a matter of fact, my Facebook and blogs and stuff cover over 20,000 people. So
well, I know.
All bring groups. Yeah.
I know, Doctor, you don't like to get political or partisan, and you shouldn't in your capacity. But you see, to me, the media will not give the proper attention or the same amount of attention that they would give to black ministers and black people of faith who came to Capitol Hill to argue for a woman's so-called right to choose. And to me, the Republicans miss a great opportunity, because if they don't acquiesce to you and do hold hearings, at least in the House where they are in control, they're missing a great opportunity, because the African-American community is represented by you and the people who will be with you. As a matter of fact, America is represented by you and the people who will be with you, because anyone who knows about this, who has an ounce of decency, would find this outrageous.
Well, you know, the jury, back again to that jury, they did. And they were pro-abortion, pro-choice, or neutral on the issue. And they found that this was absolutely outrageous. Kevin Burke over at Rachel's Vineyard and Priest for Life, we're associates at Priest for Life, when we were at court, he said, you know, the jury looks as though they're not responding. He said, but they're traumatized. They're in a daze. They can't believe what they're seeing. And that is what we discovered when these verdicts came in.
Yeah, and they had to see all the pictures and, you know, the body parts in the freezer. It's just, he's a beast. I mean, only a beast could do something like that. Doctor, thank you so very much. It's a pleasure and an honor to talk to you again.
Thank you so much, too, and we'll talk again.
Okay.
Have a good one.
I hope so.
Bye.
Thank you. That's Dr. Alveda King, ladies and gentlemen, the niece of the late Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., such a great, great advocate for life, pastoral associate, and director of African-American outreach for Priests for Life. What could you say? She speaks for herself and does it better than I can, and speaks for her cause better than I can relate her cause. But her cause is life. Her cause is common decency. Her cause is common sense. And when you have a media that could see a verdict, see a murder trial like this, and report a verdict of 3 dead babies who had their spines cut with a scissor when they were born alive, and call it 3 fetuses. He killed 3 fetuses. It just speaks to where we are in this country. But in the media, see, America wouldn't buy that. Americans would say, what, are you kidding me? But the media thinks they represent America. Media thinks anybody like myself or you or Dr. King, that we're right-wing, we're nuts, we're out of touch. No, we are America on this issue, certainly, and on many issues. It's the leftist media that would call a live baby murdered in cold blood a fetus. That's the people who are way out of touch and way in their own little privileged, elitist world. So God bless Dr. King for doing what she does, and I hope she gets her hearings. I hope we all get the hearings, because the safety of these babies when they're born alive and the safety of the women who go into these abortion clinics. It's outrageous. And women's groups should be the first ones in line. But you won't hear from women's groups. When I say women's groups, I mean NOW and quote-unquote feminist groups. You won't hear from them. All right, folks, we're coming back. Yesterday I played for you, about the same time, this little stunt that the Tonight Show pulled, the karaoke at the gas station. I'm starting to think there's speculation or there's talk now that possibly those people were actors. I heard it speculated on. I don't know if it's true. I wouldn't be surprised, because that guy was really good, and his girlfriend was really good, and they were really good together, and they knew the words to these 80s songs. You know, I mean, every word, every note. Maybe they were actors, but even if they were, it was fun. We got one woman who's singing a Whitney Houston song, and we got another man who's singing a David Bowie song. Completely different circumstances, although they both involve going up in the air. What the heck am I talking about? You stick around. Hey, you know, this might be the greatest tease ever on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
A tragic fire, a break-in, a fall. Look, accidents and emergencies really do happen. The difference between life and death could be as simple as the push of a button. That's where Medical Guardian comes in. Are you afraid that something tragic may happen with no one around to help? What if you or your elderly loved one had a fall and lay for hours or even days before any help arrived? What if it was just too late? You don't have to live in fear that something terrible could happen. It's time you discovered Medical Guardian. Life-saving help at the push of a button. Get the peace of mind you need for yourself and your loved ones. Call 800-550-3470 right now. Be one of the first 100 callers and get your first month of Medical Guardian free. 800-550-3470. Call now and get your first month for free. The help you need is at your fingertips. Ensure your safety today with Medical Guardian. 800-550-3470. That's 800-550-3470.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530. That's 800-460-1530. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-1530. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes, or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
3 a.m. and you're up again for the third time. It's not just affecting your sleep, it's interrupting your daily life. Frequent trips to the bathroom due to an aging prostate is a common concern, but you can now do something about it with Prostate Revive. Doctor-formulated Prostate Revive is an all-natural dietary supplement packed with 15 powerful ingredients, focused on improving prostate health by targeting the two main sources of prostate concerns, rogue testosterone and inflammation. And now, in this limited time radio offer, you can try Prostate Revive absolutely free. That's a free bottle, a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, risk-free. Plus, if you call right now, you'll also receive our free report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. Call now for details on getting your free bottle, plus our doctor's report. Call 1-800-659-REVIVE. That's 1-800-659-REVIVE. Don't be a victim of an aging prostate. Start getting the sleep you need and get your life back with Prostate Revive. Claim your risk-free bottle now at 1-800-659-REVIVE.
The new voice of talk radio is here. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call the show at 855-777-9660. Here is Steve.
All right, so you're on this airplane, and this woman will not shut up. But she's not talking. She's singing. She's singing so much that a New York to an LA to JFK flight has to stop in Kansas City to have the woman thrown off the flight. Now, someone recorded this on their cell phone. It's only a few seconds. It's a little hard to hear, but you'll get the gist of it. Give a listen and a look if you're watching at Newsmax.com to this woman whose name is Margaret Gaye, as she sings I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, and apparently she didn't stop from the time the plane took off.
Wait 1 second. We'll always love you.
No photos are allowed to be taken on the aircraft.
All right, and for those of you watching, or should I say for those of you listening on XM, America's Talk Channel 244, she was being led away in handcuffs at that point. And she's still singing as they're leading her away in handcuffs. And no pictures are allowed to be taken on the airplane. Somebody violated that rule. Hey, maybe Alec Baldwin was on board and we didn't know it. Anyway, violating airplane rules, that's why I gratuitously threw that in. Now, I told you there'd be more music, and it would involve being up in the air. It is, and it's completely different, and it is, and it's David Bowie, and it's his song anyway. And this is Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield. 5 months of songs and snapshots on social media from outer space. He's preparing to come back, and he gave it one last tune. We'll play it in 2 parts for you. Here's his version of David Bowie's Space Oddity, and here's 34.
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Lock your Soyuz hatch and put your helmet on. 10. Ground control 9, to Major Tom. 7, 6. Commencing countdown, engines on. 3, 2. Detach from station and may God's love be with you. This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade, and the papers want to know whose shirts you wear. But it's time to guide the capsule if you dare.
Okay, now if you're seeing it, it means all that much more. Although I enjoy listening to it too. He has been up there for 5 months. He has sent down all kinds of pictures and videos, and he is Canada's first commander at the International Space Station. And the video is amazing. I mean, he's floating, he's playing the guitar. You know, it's just an amazing music video done in space at the International Space Station. And here's kind of how it ends, part 2.
Though I've flown 100,000 miles, I'm feeling very still. And before too long, I know it's time to go. Down back to earth and knows ground control to Major Tom. The time is near. There's not too long. Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear? Am I floating in my tin can?
Boom, 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 boom. You know how it goes. That is just great. That is just great. Canadian astronaut Commander Chris Hadfield of the International Space Station returning home. Okay, we return back to the absurd, the nuttiness that is the world stage and our national stage today, as we talk to Niger Innes, the chief strategist for the TeaParty.net, a group that he says has been targeted by the IRS. We'll talk to Byron York, chief political correspondent, Washington Examiner, about this whole the Justice Department AP, the IRS, and Benghazi, and how the president's handling it. And then, so much more. The fact checker for the Washington Post gave Obama 4 Pinocchios.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you owe the IRS back taxes and they're making your life miserable, get ready for a special free offer. Expert tax advisors can help you protect your home from liens, stop wage garnishment, and give you immediate collection relief. In fact, we guarantee to contact the IRS within 30 minutes of you becoming a client to start the tax relief process. Don't try to take on the most powerful organization in the United States by yourself. Call for free tax relief information and a free consultation on how we can help you. There is no cost or obligation to discover the programs that are available to stop your IRS problems from getting worse. Call our toll-free helpline now, 800-390-6910. That's 800-390-6910. The IRS will not go away. The pressure you feel now will only grow. Get the help you deserve. Call for a free no-obligation consultation now. Tax relief is just a phone call away. Call expert tax advisors at 800-390-6910. That's 800-390-6910.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Hello and welcome to Newsmax Now. I'm John Bachman. More fallout today from the IRS and its selective enforcement standards for right-wing groups. Acting IRS Commissioner Stephen Miller will be questioned by members of Congress about the targeted scrutiny of conservative organizations this week. Miller is among those now under scrutiny for what he didn't tell lawmakers before. He never acknowledged that the IRS was targeting Tea Party groups when he was specifically asked about it at a hearing last summer, nor did he mention it in a letter to Congress in September on the same topic. It also appears officials would have never admitted to the scandal if the Treasury Department had not investigated the claims at the requests of Congress.
If you've got the IRS operating in anything less than a neutral and nonpartisan way, then that is outrageous. It is contrary to our traditions, and people have to be held accountable, and it's got to be fixed. But I've got no patience with it. I will not tolerate it.
A more detailed and some say more damaging report is expected to be released later this week. More on this from the House Budget Vice Chairman Tom Price in a moment. In Minnesota, state senators passed a bill that will allow same-sex couples to marry. House members had already passed the bill a few days before, and the bill is now headed to the desk of Democratic Governor Mark Dayton. He is expected to sign it this evening, and same-sex couples will be able to marry in Minnesota starting on August 1st. It will be the 12th state to allow same-sex unions. And U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says he expects Syria peace negotiations to begin next month. Speaking in Stockholm, Sweden, Kerry says he is cautiously optimistic that a joint effort led by Russia and the U.S., could lead to a negotiated transition from the Assad regime to a new form of government. Russian President Vladimir Putin has agreed to the idea in concept, even though the Russians have resisted UN-led efforts to condemn Assad.
We believe the only way to settle Syria is through, the best way to settle Syria is through a negotiated settlement.
The peace talks would be held in Geneva, Switzerland, probably in middle or late June, but Syrian government officials say they still need to hear more details before they commit to attending. And next on your Newsmax Now update, a potentially life-saving surgery for Oscar winner Angelina Jolie, why she chose to go under the knife to reduce her risk of cancer. Plus a Newsmax exclusive with influential Republican Congressman Tom Price, why he says President Obama's actions must match his words on the IRS scandal. Next.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes, or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
And welcome back. Oscar winner Angelina Jolie says she had a double mastectomy to avoid getting breast cancer. Jolie made the announcement in an op-ed featured in the New York Times. She says the decision was made after she found out she carried a gene that gives her a much higher risk of developing breast and ovarian cancer. Her mother also died of breast cancer. And during a Newsmax exclusive, Congressman Tom Price, vice chairman of the powerful House Budget Committee, says President Obama should be outraged by the behavior at the IRS, and now he's got to make sure that the people responsible for that behavior are replaced.
This is very, very troubling, and the president had some strong words today. What he now needs to do is to find out what happened and then fire the people that were responsible for this and see where it goes. I believe it goes further on up in his administration.
And to see more of our exclusive content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for May the 14th. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
I have ordered an investigation to be begun. The FBI is coordinating with the Justice Department to see if any laws were broken in connection with those matters related to the IRS. Those were, I think, as everyone can agree, if not criminal, they were certainly outrageous and unacceptable, but we are examining the facts to see if there were criminal violations. There are a variety of statutes within the IRS code that I'm not familiar with or I have the ability to give you the numbers to, but that we have looked at. In addition, there are other things in Title 18 that we will be looking at as well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hour number 2 of the Steve Malzberg Show. Welcome back. That was Attorney General Eric Holder. Earlier today, he made some bombshell announcements that he has recused himself from the investigation into the AP Justice Department scandal and said that he didn't sign off on the subpoena that the Justice Department used to get the AP phone records because he had recused himself from that case in advance of that subpoena. That was startling. He also announcing right there that there will be an investigation that it has been launched into the IRS case, and we have more revelations about the IRS case, which we'll bring to you. But first, we welcome in our friend Niger Innis, of course, the great civil rights leader and chief strategist for the TeaParty.net, a group that Niger says has itself been targeted by the IRS. Niger, great to talk to you, sir.
Hello, old friend. Good to be on with you again.
Well, it's my pleasure. Okay, so talk to me about the TeaParty.net. Talk about the group and talk about what it has faced or you have faced from the IRS.
Well, over a year ago, actually even before I was with the TeaParty.net, they were put under unbelievable scrutiny in applying for a 501c4. And as our attorney who handled this burdensome task asserted in a white paper that he did, it was much more like an audit than it was an application, a typical application request. The IRS asked a variety of burdensome questions, but the most troubling, perhaps the unconstitutional question that was asked, was about our donors, the political activity of our donors, who our donors were, who is going to run for political office. So in other words, what they were attempting to do was to intimidate our donors, to break up the bridge that exists between our donors and our organization, and that is a violation of our First Amendment rights of freedom of association and freedom of speech.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, as you're telling me this, Niger, Politico just ran with a story about Israel-related groups also have pointed to IRS scrutiny. And the leader of one organization involved, Z Street, which is, from what I believe, it's a tiny organization, but nonetheless, it's kind of like the opposite of J Street, which is a very liberal, left-wing Jewish group.
I'm very familiar with this.
And they filed a lawsuit against the IRS in 2010, alleging that one of its attorneys were told its application was delayed and sent to a quote-unquote special unit to determine whether the organization's activities contradict the administration's public policies. Not if they violate the law involved in becoming a nonprofit, but if they contradict the administration's policies.
Frightening. I mean, it makes you wonder, are we in the United States of America, or are we in Eastern Europe in the 60s and 70s, or in Germany in the 30s? It's disgusting. It's frightening. And look, I appreciate Obama reading from the teleprompter and the talking points that he apologizes, but we want a heck of a lot more than that. We will probably join Z Street and a number of other organizations and launch a class action lawsuit against the IRS for what is done here.
It is just incredible. And if you want to hear something, Niger, last week, I think the day before the hearings in Benghazi, Hillary got a big award, the Warren Christopher Award from some organization. The day after, and I might have them reversed, Susan Rice got a Great American Award from some organization. And irony of ironies, here again, the woman in charge of the IRS division, Lois Lerner, the director for the IRS Exempt Organization Division, is getting an honorary tribute from Western New England University School of Law on Saturday. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
It is hysterical, and you know what I will say is this, Steve, that I believe the Congress has a responsibility to call up. To have as many hearings on the IRS situation and Benghazi, they need to call Susan Rice up to the stand to testify under oath to the Congress and basically ask one simple question. Who gave you the talking points and who instructed you from the White House or the State Department to go on these talk shows? As you know very well, Steve, you just don't go on these Sunday important Sunday news talk programs without approval or direction from the White House.
Right.
It just doesn't happen. So the question, and that's where the real sweet spot is in this particular crisis. Who told her to go on, who directed her to go on, and who gave her this misinformation that she used to misinform and to lie to the American people?
I got one more for you before you go, Nigel. I want to get back to your organization that you speak for, the TeaParty.net. What's the status of the organization right now?
Right now, we still have an application pending. I believe we're actually we're actually trying to get 501c3 status. I believe our C4 status has been granted, at least to this organization or one of our sister organizations.
Have you been in touch with other Tea Party groups to, you talk about joining a class action suit, have you been in touch with any specific groups or lawyers to further that?
We have, and we are continuing that dialogue. We haven't pulled the trigger just yet, but we are very seriously considering a class action lawsuit.
Have you been in contact with the IRS seeking some kind of I don't know, some kind of settlement with them in lieu of going into a lawsuit, or is that not a consideration?
No, we haven't been in touch with the IRS other than going through the Byzantine process of supplying them with all this type of documentation, much of which was not even necessary or even relevant to applying for a 501c4.
Well, you know, I don't see why every contributor's shoe size and neck size isn't relevant to you, Niger. I think that's very relevant. All right, listen, my friend, say hello to your great dad, Roy, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, Steve. You take care.
Take care. That's Niger Innes, ladies and gentlemen, civil rights leader. Of course, his group CORE, Congress of Racial Equality, founded by his father, Roy Innes. And now he's also a chief strategist for the TeaParty.net. And these revelations, you know, they don't stop. And here's another one. You want another one? I'll give you another one. This one says, and this is a Breitbart story that just broke as well, the progressive-leaning investigative journalism group known as ProPublica, or Publica, however they want to pronounce it, has disclosed, says that the Internal Revenue Service or the Internal Revenue Service Office that targeted and harassed conservative tax-exempt groups during the 2012 election cycle gave this progressive group 9 confidential applications of conservative groups whose tax-exempt status was pending. Are you following this? Are you following this? 4 days ago, 3 business days ago, on Friday of last week, we were told, yeah, this was a bunch of low-level employees in Cincinnati, tax-exempt, department, and they were responsible. But that's all. In a few cases. Now, look what's happening. This is exploding. But remember, the president found out about all of this the same time we did. As a matter of fact, he didn't know about this earlier today until he just heard it. And the Jewish groups, he didn't know about that. I mean, this is, as we find out, he finds out. Because he knew nothing. Benghazi, nobody's even asked him what he was doing the night of the attack. Did he speak to anybody? When's the first time he spoke to somebody? Panetta said he wasn't around. Was he in a situation room? What was he doing? He knew nothing. He found out about it when you and I found out about it. All right, we're going to break. Come back. Byron York, chief political correspondent, Washington Examiner, coming up. We'll talk about all this on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Guys, you've heard about Ageless Male, the natural supplement that helps boost testosterone levels within normal, healthy ranges. But now, the best testosterone product is even better. New and improved Ageless Male can help you feel more like you used to in your active life and in your romantic life. Because our upgraded formula has been clinically shown to increase your drive, desire, and performance. That's right, guys. Ageless Male has been clinically shown to boost performance. Cancel your plans this weekend. You're staying in. If you're ready to recapture the drive from your youth, now is the time to try Ageless Male because it's available risk-free. But you must call now. Just call 1-800-460-9790. Be the guy you used to be. Just call 1-800-460-9790. 1-800-460-9790. 1-800-460-9790.
If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction to alcohol or drugs, then you must listen to this message because there is hope. No matter what addiction you or your loved one is coping with, you are just one phone call away from real help. Recovery Hotline makes the healing process simple and affordable by matching people to fully certified and experienced inpatient facilities that are right for their personal situations. Call 800-668-1286 now. Don't wait another day. Money does not have to be an issue. Most insurance is accepted. Just call 800-668-1286 today. Recovery Hotline's mission is to help you or someone you love begin the healing process and get back a healthy and sober life. And we can even help with family interventions and travel arrangements. One phone call is all it takes to get back the life you or your loved one deserves. The call is free. The help is real. Call 800-668-1286. That's 800-668-1286. 800-668-1286. Again, 800-668-1286.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare's Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already a #1 Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today by going to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Obamacare. More than $1 trillion in new costs. Hidden taxes, fees, big Medicare cuts, doctor shortages. How can we survive?
To know Obamacare is to survive Obamacare. The Obamacare Survival Guide tells you everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Are you tired of the insanity in talk radio? Well, there's a new voice during the afternoon. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
We're distressed that the Justice Department felt the need to seize our records and not tell us about it, and certainly distressed, as our CEO said in his protest to the Justice Department, that the scope of the inquiry is so huge. I've been in this business more than 30 years, and our First Amendment lawyers and our lawyers inside the AP and our CEO is also a well-known First Amendment lawyer. None of us have ever seen anything like this.
All right, Kathleen Carroll, executive editor of the Associated Press, this morning on MSNBC. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, and we are now joined by our friend, and that would be Byron York. He is a chief political correspondent for the Washington Examiner. Hello, Byron.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me.
It is my pleasure. Thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it, as always. Okay, let's start with this one and start with the fact that Eric Holder earlier today, as we played for the people earlier in the show, revealed that he not only is recused from this investigation into the AP phone records and all, but he had recused himself early on before the subpoena was ever signed or the decision was made to go for those phone records, because the FBI talked to him about this big national security case, which he called the leak, one of the most egregious, most dangerous, the biggest in almost in American history, and so he has nothing to say. He doesn't even know what was in the subpoena.
Well, you know, it's weird. The Justice Department guidelines say that a subpoena like this has to be personally signed off on by the Attorney General, and there's a reason for that, because it's a big deal. Now, I should say that, look, national security leaks are serious things. We've suffered some terrible setbacks because of big leaks. So I'm all in favor of the Justice Department trying to find the government officials who knowingly leak classified information. But what they did to the AP was just off the scale, because it was so broad. It covered home phones, cell phones, office phones of a lot of people. And the other thing is, it was all done in secret. Usually in a case like this, the news organization will get a subpoena for a certain number of people or their telephones or something like that.
And they negotiate, right?
Exactly. If they feel that it's too broad, they go to a judge and they say, "Look, this is too broad. This person shouldn't have been subpoenaed, and this person shouldn't, but we'll agree to this one." And there's this, back and forth on it. It didn't happen that way this time. It was all in secret, and AP found out that their phone records had been seized after it had all happened.
It is amazing. It is amazing. Were you shocked that, as I was, that the Attorney General, had recused himself? Why? I don't even understand the circumstances. Why would the FBI be talking to him about the case, and then he'd feel the need to recuse himself further? I don't get it.
Yeah, I was very surprised. I was surprised at how it came about. I was surprised at just everything they've done here. I mean, here again, leaks are serious, and there have to be investigations, because we've had some very damaging ones. And this one, the United States and the Western security agencies had really gotten into this group in Yemen, and so that's really good. And you hate to see any of that damaged by a leak, but you've got to have a little respect for the First Amendment here.
Well, the Attorney General, Byron, also announcing that there is an investigation now being launched into the IRS. This has blown up since Friday, when it was supposed to be a couple of low-level employees in Cincinnati, to the point where now we just found out there's a story that a group called ProPublica, what they call an investigative journalism progressive group, says that it received conservative tax-exempt groups' applications from the IRS. The IRS gave it to them during the 2012 election cycle, 9 confidential applications of conservative groups whose tax-exempt status was pending. And now you have a Jewish group called Z Street, also a conservative group, the opposite kind of J Street, that says they were hassled by the IRS, and they were told they needed to show what their policies were and prove that they didn't conflict with the administration's public policies towards Israel.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing worse than the IRS doing this kind of selective punishing is then they do that and then they hand over the results to some journalist.
Oh, man.
You know, it's just this one is really, really astonishing, and it's going to have, I think probably wider ranging after effects than the AP Justice Department story, because I mean, look, everybody either distrusts or fears or both the IRS, and now, I mean, I don't know if you saw Jon Stewart last night. He just had a nervous breakdown.
I know. Yeah.
Because he's spent all of his time making fun of these crazy right-wingers who have these paranoid fantasies about the government coming after Tea Partiers and the like.
And ding, 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 yeah.
Ding, 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 it happens, and he's just, he seems beside himself. And so I think this is going to have pretty far-ranging effects. By the way, I wrote about another one today, which is that the IRS is the enforcer of Obamacare, which is coming in the next several months.
Yep.
And the less public faith there is, the less public trust, the less inclination there is to cooperate with the IRS on that, the more trouble there's going to be for Obamacare.
Absolutely. And just briefly, we got about a minute left, and Nancy Pelosi with her, I don't have time to play the cut, the woman who famously said you got to pass the bill to see what's in it, and the biggest bang for the buck is welfare and unemployment benefits for the economy. And now she's talking about how this is a great opportunity for us to revisit the Citizens United case and find out who these groups are. I mean, while she condemned the actions, she's kind of, in a roundabout way saying, yeah, good. We need to know who these groups are, and let's take advantage of this opportunity.
That is really fantasy land, but I don't think she's alone. I mean, it's been interesting watching, the New York Times as they react to this, because the interesting thing is the New York Times editorially has called for the IRS to do exactly this for years.
Yeah.
And then, and then now the IRS is doing it. Everybody's agitated about it, and the Times is saying, well, of course they should be looking at groups on the left too.
But,
but basically this is what they've been calling for the whole time. So I find it really astonishing that you've had this situation where the IRS has used. It's really incredible.
Byron,
and used it this way.
Incredible is the word. I thank you, sir, as always. Byron York, Chief Political Correspondent, Washington Examiner. We'll speak to you soon, sir.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you so much. Glenn Kessler coming up next.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS, or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
If you need to lose weight and would like to get paid for it, that's right, I said get paid to lose weight. Just listen to the following announcement. The makers of GCE Green Coffee Bean Weight Loss are looking for real testimonials from real people and will pay you per pound to meet or exceed your weight loss goal. Until now, the secrets of green coffee's fat-burning power has been limited, but thanks to Dr. Oz, the secret is out. And now, this authentic green coffee bean fat burner is available in easy-to-take tablets. There are no expensive meals to buy or strenuous workouts. Simply take one tablet before each meal and record your progress. Only the first 200 callers are guaranteed to be accepted into the program. So if you're serious about losing extra weight and want to earn extra cash for fitting into your skinny jeans again, call 800-383-9230 now. Call 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230. Space is limited, so hurry and secure your spot today. 800-383-9230. Some conditions apply. 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing.
Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5-ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price.
Scroll down now to claim your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide for the special internet offer of only $4.95.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
With respect to Benghazi, we've now seen this argument that's been made by some folks, primarily up on Capitol Hill, 4 months now. And I've just got to say, here's what we know. Americans died in Benghazi. What we also know is clearly they were not in a position where they were adequately protected. The day after it happened, I acknowledged that this was an act of terrorism.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Malzberg with you. And that was the president yesterday at his joint news conference with the British Prime Minister, questioned on Benghazi. Of course, he was questioned on other issues as well. And he's saying that back in the Rose Garden, the day after the attack in Benghazi, so on 9/12 of last year, he called it an act of terrorism. Joining us now to validate or invalidate or weigh the validity of the claim is, well, you know him from the Washington Post. He is the man who decides what passes the muster and what does not pass the muster. We welcome in Glenn Kessler. Hey, Glenn, how are you, sir?
All right. Good to be with you.
Well, thank you very much. Good to talk to you again, the fact checker of the Washington Post. So you gave that statement yesterday. You gave it 4 Pinocchios. That's a lot of nose length.
Yeah, that's right. That's the worst possible rating you can get.
Well, tell us why.
Well, because I determined it was kind of an act of historical revisionism. What he said the day after the attack was he called it an act of terror. He said in the Rose Garden, no acts of terror will ever shake the resolve of this great nation. And then he used variations of that in a couple campaign speeches the next day. But, I covered the State Department for 9 years, and there's a difference between acts of terror, which is kind of the context in which he uses it, it's kind of wrapped up in this kind of patriotic fervor. And he doesn't affirmatively state that the American ambassador died because of an act of terror or an act of terrorism. And then I went through and I looked at other times after the incident when he was interviewed by reporters, and he was asked, in fact, right after that Rose Garden statement, he was asked by Steve Kroft of CBS, you know, I noticed you carefully didn't say the word terrorism. Is this an act of terrorism? And he said, well, we don't really know how it came about.
Right. You actually quoted Kroft as saying, Mr. President, this morning you went out of your way to avoid the use of the word terrorism. And Obama says, right.
Yes, he agrees with him. Yeah.
Okay, so he did not say, actually, we have what he said. Now, there are two issues here. You are 100% correct, and as you'll hear in this next bite, which will be 47, Will. This is from the Rose Garden. But I also want you to keep in mind, because I'm also going to ask you about, you know, this Candy Crowley thing that we've already discussed in the past, but this notion that he actually was referring to this event, than Benghazi, even when he said terror. I maintain no, but let's listen to the part one of the Rose Garden, 47.
The United States condemns in the strongest terms this outrageous and shocking attack. We're working with the government of Libya to secure our diplomats. I've also directed my administration to increase our security at diplomatic posts around the world. And make no mistake, we will work with the Libyan government to bring to justice the killers who attacked our people. Since our founding, the United States has been a nation that respects all faiths. We reject all efforts to denigrate the religious beliefs of others. But there is absolutely no justification to this type of senseless violence. None.
All right, so there you go. First, so this is at the beginning of the thing, of the presser or the announcement in the Rose Garden with Hillary standing next to him. He talks about the attack killed our people, the people who killed our people. Didn't say, you know, committed an act of terror. Didn't mention terror. Then went into the vague reference or the veiled reference of the video that we have to respect all religions. But it's no excuse for this senseless act of violence, which is what he was calling it. He didn't call it terror or terrorism. But then before you weigh in, let's get to what he actually did say, and then I'll have you comment on the whole thing. Here's 48.
Of course, yesterday was already a painful day for our nation as we marked the solemn memory of the 9/11 attacks. We mourned with the families who were lost on that day. I visited the graves of troops who made the ultimate sacrifice in Iraq and Afghanistan at the hallowed grounds of Arlington Cemetery and had the opportunity to say thank you and visit some of our wounded warriors at Walter Reed. And then last night we learned the news of this attack in Benghazi. As Americans, let us never, ever forget that our freedom is only sustained because there are people who are willing to fight for it, to stand up for it, and in some cases lay down their lives for it. Our country is only as strong as the character of our people and the service of those, both civilian and military, who represent us around the globe. No acts of terror will ever shake the resolve of this great nation, alter that character, or eclipse the light of the values that we stand for.
Okay, so that speaks to what you Pinocchio'd him on today. He said no act of terror, when in fact yesterday he claimed he called it an act of terrorism. But I maintain, Glenn, that you know, he had his opportunity at the beginning. This was the very end. I left out the part in the middle. At the very beginning, he had reference and never said terror, never said terrorism, nothing. Terrorists, nothing. In fact, referred to it in other ways, and not until after he talked about 9/11 and the anniversary and what a great nation we are, and then said how no act of terror will ever deter us. I maintain he wasn't referring to Benghazi at all.
Well, you can certainly make that case. I mean, the question that came up in the debate was, did he ever say act of terror? He said, I said act of terror, and Romney.
Well, that he called it an act of terror. That he called it, not just the words, you know, not that he ever uttered the words from his lips, but that he call it an act of terror. And he said no. And then when Candy Crowley said, well, he actually did. And then, you know, Obama said, say it again. What'd you say? So, you know, he was saved by Candy Crowley on that. I mean, again, to me, and you know, I guess it's a matter of opinion, but I'd love to know where you weigh in, because I don't remember exactly what you wrote at the time. But you know, here he is, called them killers, called it an attack, then referenced the video, said it's no excuse for, then called it violence, but not until in the context of 9/11 and the anniversary and the strength of our nation, and saying no act of terror will ever deter us, did he mention the word terror. I don't believe that's a reference to Benghazi at all, because then he went on to the UN and talked about the video again.
Right. Well, you're right. It's a matter of certainly of interpretation, and the case you make is a good one. I looked at it more as I put it when I was speaking earlier. He spoke in very vague terms. It was part of this kind of patriotic, we're Americans, no one's going to defeat us.
Right.
But he did not say specifically the American ambassador died because of an act of terror, let alone say he died because of an act of terrorism.
Right, right.
I have faulted the White House for kind of reaching back and saying, well, look, see, he said act of terror when he wasn't really doing so. But you could kind of get away with it in the context of the campaign, because he at least did say those words, but he certainly never said act of terrorism.
Which is what he claimed he said yesterday, and that's what you gave him the 4 Pinocchios for.
Exactly, and then specifically because he was then asked on 3 occasions by reporters, so is this an act of terrorism? And one of the examples, someone said, Hillary Clinton says it's an act of terrorism. What do you think?
Right, right.
And he says, we're still doing an investigation.
And by the way, we're still doing the investigation. But don't you worry, Glenn, because those people will be brought to justice. And don't you worry, we'll get to the bottom of the IRS, which the president just found out about in the news reports on Friday. And we'll get to the bottom of this Justice Department AP scandal because the president just found out about it yesterday on the plane when everybody else heard it. So the president apparently knows nothing about nothing. You might have to get the Pinocchio meter going soon. And by the way, if you like your doctor and you like your health plan, you could keep it. That's another one. And the premiums are coming down. I mean, boy, you got a field day going.
Well, I check all the facts, and I am, I am strictly bipartisan.
Oh no, I understand that. I understand
that. The Republicans say a few doozies as well.
I'm not disputing it, but we are talking about the president. All right, listen, Glenn, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Anytime.
All right, thank you. Glenn Kessler, ladies and gentlemen, the fact checker for the Washington Post. And he gives our dear president 4 Pinocchios. The Washington Post, nonpartisan fact checker, 4 Pinocchios. And you heard the proof. He said the president never said terrorism in the Rose Garden the day after the attack. And we just played you what he said. He never said terrorism. He said terror. But as I maintain, and as Glenn says, I have a very good argument, he wasn't even talking about Benghazi. He was talking about the anniversary of 9/11 and how we won't be deterred by acts of terrorism. About Benghazi, he called the people killers. He called it an attack. He said on our attack on our people. He called it senseless violence. He never called Benghazi an act of terror or terrorism in the Rose Garden. Not once. Not once did I call it an act of terror. Not once, Ms. Lewinsky. Sorry about that. I couldn't resist. All right, folks, we're coming back. Steve Malzberg right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. No Pinocchios here. Don't go away.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Obama wants your money, and he's determined to get it. He wants your money to buy off unions, his Wall Street cronies, and to expand the Obama welfare nation. Well, Swiss America is determined to stop him from stealing your money. They want to send you an award-winning film, I Want Your Money, on DVD that exposes his plan. It'll help keep the government's hands off your money using gold, silver, and other hard asset strategies to protect your hard-earned money. Call today and request the DVD, I Want Your Money, normally $19.95, yours absolutely free. Let Swiss America show you how to use gold, silver, and other hard assets to protect your hard-earned money. Call now. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. Call Swiss America right now. Learn all about investing in gold. 800-978-3907. That's 800-978-3907. Call right now. Health insurance is on everybody's mind right now. You either don't have it or you have it and you think it's too expensive. And you probably feel like you don't have any options. We can help. We are InSphere Insurance Solutions. We offer health insurance plans from major carriers nationwide and likely have a plan that can save you money. Whether you're self-employed, on a COBRA plan that's about to expire, or you simply don't have health insurance where you work and you need it, InSphere Insurance Solutions can help you. Our agents will help you find coverage you can afford. InSphere Insurance Solutions is an authorized agency in all 50 states, including the District of Columbia. Plans may not be available in all states. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil ember.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54, with a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today. In this free offer, we are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Coming up in the next hour, we'll be joined by Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn from the great state of Tennessee. That'll be at top of the hour. She is going to talk about her committee has just done a report which finds that health premiums could very easily double under Obamacare and could go up as much as 400%. So if you have health insurance right now, and you think you're paying a lot, and you just saw your rates go up from last year to this year, How would you like to quadruple those rates? But Obamacare was supposed to bring the premiums down. And if you like your doctor, you could keep your doctor. And if you like your health insurance, you could keep your health insurance. Lie after lie after lie after lie. I got to tell you, he lies like he breathes. That's my opinion of the President of the United States. Lies like he breathes. So many things untrue that we've been told. So many of us have been okey-doked, or so many of you have been okey-doked, have been bamboozled, to quote the President of the United States. So we're going to talk to her about that and about the aftermath of the Gosnell trial. She wants hearings held, as does Alveda King, who joined us earlier in the show. So we'll talk to her about all of that. Now, remember George Zimmerman, and remember the Trayvon Martin case? Well, that's gonna, that's in the courts right now, going through motions and different things and preparation for the trial, which is going to be upcoming. And then we're gonna, have something else to focus on as well here. And I don't know. I think there from what I remember, there are cameras in the courts. So this is gonna be another, Jodi Arias-like phenomenon throughout the country. And I got to tell you, I have more interest in this than I had in Jodi Arias. And you know what amazes me? Jay Carney today kept saying, we can't comment specifically on this case or that case or the IRS or the Justice Department, whatever, because, ongoing investigations, can't comment. But didn't the president rush to the microphone and say that Trayvon could have been his son? Was that a rush to judgment? Didn't the president rush to the microphone and say about the Cambridge police way back in his first term with the incident with the Harvard professor, Obama's buddy, that the quote was, "I don't know what happened, I wasn't there, but the police acted stupidly." Well, wasn't that an ongoing case? So when he wants to weigh in, he weighs in. When he doesn't want to weigh in, I can't comment on a case that's ongoing, but Trayvon could have been my son. Nice. Okay. So here's the deal. The prosecution wants Trayvon Martin's past history to stay out of the record, out of the case, not be allowed to be brought in. Florida prosecutors say Trayvon Martin's troubles at school, his marijuana smoking, and other incidents should not be talked about at trial in the George Zimmerman case. Prosecutors asked the judge to block Zimmerman's attorneys from presenting this evidence, as well as information about Trayvon Martin getting into a fight, wearing fake gold teeth. They want to keep out of the trial any social media screen names Martin used. I have heard reports that some of the names that Martin used, I couldn't even say them on the air. They want to keep out his text messages and his school records. Now, Zimmerman's set to go on trial next month for second-degree murder. He's pleading not guilty, and he says he fatally shot Martin out of self-defense during a confrontation. Trying to see if there's any other information here. Testimony about his past. State said they want to prevent Zimmerman's attorneys from bringing up his personal life, school records, previous suspension from school, fights, text messages sent prior to his death. Okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal. All of this speaks to who Trayvon Martin was. The case here, Zimmerman shouldn't have to prove anything. They should have to prove that Zimmerman did it not in self-defense. But we know reality sometimes. Who was Trayvon Martin? We've been told and we've been shown this picture of a little 12-year-old boy, right, on his way with a bag of Skittles and an iced tea. And he was just going home to his home. And when big bad George Zimmerman came and attacked him and fought him and shot him. Well, if the defense could show, as they're claiming, I'm not a lawyer here, okay? But it seems to me, if the defense is claiming self-defense, that's why they shot Trayvon Martin, okay? And Trayvon Martin's going to be portrayed by the prosecution as a loving son and this and that and everything. Well, isn't it fair for the defense to say, wait a minute, You're portraying Trayvon Martin as someone who never would have attacked my client. Someone who my client would never have to shoot to defend himself from. So let's talk about some of the history of who Trayvon Martin was. This isn't gratuitous. This isn't bringing up the sex life of a rape victim, okay? This is a man who shot someone because he said he was attacked by him, and he had to pull his gun and save himself while his head was being smashed into the ground. And the defense, the prosecution's going to say, you didn't have to shoot him in self-defense. This guy wouldn't do something like that. You started it, not him. Well, if you could show that he's started fights before, if you could show that he's been in trouble before, if you could show he's been thrown out of school before, if you could show that he has violent tendencies by virtue of his posts on social media, doesn't that all enter into who he is? And isn't the case all about who started that altercation? Because as George Zimmerman, and I think the testimony and the evidence will show, as George Zimmerman was at the bottom of the pile, screaming for help, getting hit, and his head pounded into the ground by Trayvon Martin, he pulled his gun and shot. But if the prosecution could prove somehow that George Zimmerman started that fight, then self-defense doesn't become really a plausible defense. So who started the fight? Well, George Zimmerman claims Trayvon Martin did. Trayvon Martin's not here. So unless they have a witness to say, oh, we saw George Zimmerman throw the first punch, then it's open for the jury to decide. Well, they'll see Zimmerman. He'll be portrayed as this and that, and a cowboy and a zealot and this. Isn't it important to know who Trayvon Martin was? I'm sure he was a good kid also, but if he had history of violence, history of fights, history of violent postings, history of doesn't the jury need to take that into consideration too when considering who started the fight? Again, I am not a lawyer, but it seems kind of obvious to me that this is very important to the defense of George Zimmerman. I mean, I would think so. Wouldn't you? Okay, so we're coming back, folks. Congresswoman Blackburn. We're also going to talk to Dr. Erika Schwartz, a leading patients advocate, expert in bioidentical hormones, and author of The Hormone Solution. She's going to talk about Angelia Jolie and the fact that she had a double mastectomy. Why would someone do that? We'll talk about it. Don't go away. Big hour coming up.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If your prostate is giving you problems and your doc says it's just part of getting older, be wary. Renowned physician and author Dr. David Brownstein thinks this is baloney. He's discovered a link between aging and prostate health and believes prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. That's why he created Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Brownstein. I personally formulated Prostate Revive to include the most essential natural ingredients available to help promote a healthy prostate gland and optimal urinary function.
The producers of Dr. Brownstein's Prostate Revive are so thrilled with the positive feedback from satisfied customers that for a limited time, they are willing to send you your first month's supply free. Plus, call now and you'll also receive Dr. Brownstein's special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. For details on getting your free bottle, call 1-800-596-REVIVE. That's 1-800-596-REVIVE. Take control with Prostate Revive. Call now while supplies last to claim your risk-free bottle at 1-800-596-REVIVE.
My patients still don't know what Obamacare means for them. And how could they? There are already 13,000 pages of regulations, and the bureaucrats are just getting started. Obamacare will change your health care, and you need to understand how. There are hidden taxes and fines, big cuts in Medicare, even new regulations on what services doctors can offer you. Some businesses could get hit with a 40% additional tax on your health care plan. Please, get the Obamacare Survival Guide today. It's the best book explaining the new law. It's easy to read, everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere.
Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Hello and welcome to Newsmax Now. I'm John Bachman. More fallout today from the IRS and its selective enforcement standards for right-wing groups. Acting IRS Commissioner Stephen Miller will be questioned by members of Congress about the targeted scrutiny of conservative organizations this week. Miller is among those now under scrutiny for what he didn't tell lawmakers before. He never acknowledged that the IRS was targeting Tea Party groups when he was specifically asked about it at a hearing last summer. Nor did he mention it in a letter to Congress in September on the same topic. It also appears officials would have never admitted to the scandal if the Treasury Department had not investigated the claims at the requests of Congress.
If you've got the IRS operating in anything less than a neutral and nonpartisan way, then that is outrageous. It is contrary to our traditions, and people have to be held accountable, and it's got to be fixed. But I've got no patience with it. I will not tolerate it.
A more detailed and some say more damaging report is expected to be released later this week. More on this from the House Budget Vice Chairman Tom Price in a moment. In Minnesota, state senators passed a bill that will allow same-sex couples to marry. House members had already passed the bill a few days before, and the bill is now headed to the desk of Democratic Governor Mark Dayton. He is expected to sign it this evening, and same-sex couples will be able to marry in Minnesota starting on August 1st. It will be the 12th state to allow same-sex unions. And U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says he expects Syria peace negotiations to begin next month. Speaking in Stockholm, Sweden, Kerry says he is cautiously optimistic that a joint effort led by Russia and the United States, or led by Russia rather, and the U.S., could lead to a negotiated transition from the Assad regime to a new form of government. Russian President Vladimir Putin has agreed to the idea in concept, even though the Russians have resisted UN-led efforts to condemn Assad.
We believe the only way to settle Syria is through, the best way to settle Syria is through a negotiated settlement.
The peace talks would be held in Geneva, Switzerland, probably in middle or late June, but Syrian government officials say they still need to hear more details before they commit to attending. And next on your Newsmax Now update, a potentially life-saving surgery for Oscar winner Angelina Jolie, why she chose to go under the knife to reduce her risk of cancer. Plus a Newsmax exclusive with influential Republican Congressman Tom Price, why he says President Obama's actions must match his words on the IRS scandal. Next.
Have you ever wondered how you could make a difference in someone's life? What if you could help hundreds or even thousands of children? Students in the U.S. rank 32nd in world math skills. It's time for our children to catch up. Become an owner of one of the world's fastest growing franchises, Mathnasium. Mathnasium is the leading math-only learning center in the U.S. Imagine helping hundreds, even thousands of students in your community improve in school and raise their self-esteem. Call us at 800-676-5216. 800-676-5216.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com.
And welcome back. Oscar winner Angelina Jolie says she had a double mastectomy to avoid getting breast cancer. Jolie made the announcement in an op-ed featured in the New York Times. She says the decision was made after she found out she carried a gene that gives her a much higher risk of developing breast and ovarian cancer. Her mother also died of breast cancer. And during a Newsmax exclusive, Congressman Tom Price, Vice Chairman of the powerful House Budget Committee, says President Obama should be outraged by the behavior at the IRS, and now he's got to make sure that the people responsible for that behavior are replaced.
This is very, very troubling, and the president had some strong words today. What he now needs to do is to find out what happened and then fire the people that were responsible for this and see where it goes. I believe it goes further on up in his administration.
And to see more of our exclusive content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for May the 14th. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard hour number 3 of the Steve Malzberg Show. Those of you watching at newsmax.com and those of you listening on America's Talk Channel XM Radio Channel 244. We are joined right now, I am very happy and proud to say, by Congressman Marsha Blackburn from the 7th CD of the great state of Tennessee, Vice Chair of the Energy and Commerce Committee. Hello, Congressman. How are you?
I am doing great, and I hope you are also.
I am. It's insane. It's crazy. My head's spinning with everything going on, but I'm doing okay. I hope you had a safe plane ride and a pleasant trip.
I did. Flight was a little bit late, but we're in D.C. and ready for another busy week.
Oh, my
As
goodness.
you can tell, we have a lot on our plate.
All right, well, let me give you some breaking news regarding Kermit Gosnell. And we spoke, just so you know, we had Alveda King on in the previous hour, and she's in Washington, too. And you're in line with what she's looking for in the way of hearings and congressional action. But let me just tell you, the CNN is reporting right before I sat down for this hour that an apparent deal has been cut, according to the district attorney in Philadelphia. He will not face the death penalty, and he agrees in return not to appeal the case. That's
correct. That is what we are hearing, and that he is trying to cut or is cutting the deal for life in prison so that he does not have to face the death penalty, and also that he's convicted on hundreds of lesser charges and running a corrupt organization among them, and of course the travesty of infanticide.
Are you okay with that deal if it does, in fact, prove to be the case?
You know, I just, when I heard this, I thought, my goodness, he doesn't want to face the death penalty, and here he sentenced these babies that had survived this abortion to death and committed that. I had thought that he would receive the death penalty, and obviously he thought that he would receive the death penalty also. So we'll see what happens as they continue to work this forward and what the final verdict is going to be and what the final sentence is.
You called yesterday a sad day, Congressman, and absolutely. I mean, those little babies to have their spines cut with a scissor, and the death of that woman who is also held culpable for, and of course it goes beyond that. I mean, the gruesomeness, the body parts in the freezer. I mean, it's just unspeakable and unthinkable. And you are calling for congressional action. Tell us what you are hoping to accomplish.
Well, what I am hopeful we're going to do, and I anticipate we're going to do, is have some additional oversight. Number one, looking at the states and how they are overseeing and regulating these clinics, how they are going in and reviewing them, overseeing them over, each year. And as we're finding out, that's not what has been happening. They have gone sometimes 10 and 15 years without going in to monitor and check these clinics. The second thing is Planned Parenthood's role in this. In Pennsylvania, we know from some of the prosecution witnesses that they reported to Planned Parenthood what was transpiring in that clinic in Pennsylvania, the Gosnell Clinic, and they were instructed to go to the Department of Health. And Planned Parenthood should have stepped up and had a role in this, and it is unfortunate for them that they did not. But Planned Parenthood gets over $500 million a year, and
And the president became the first sitting president, if I may interrupt, to speak to Planned Parenthood of just a couple of weeks ago.
Indeed, indeed. And we know, as we have at Energy and Commerce, we have conducted some investigation into Planned Parenthood over the past couple of years, and we're continuing with that. And it is why I brought forward my legislation, H.R. 61, which would end federal funding of abortion. Yeah. And we are going to continue to work and push that legislation. When you see how these clinics are conducting themselves, when you see that Planned Parenthood has a mandate to their affiliates to conduct abortion, then you know that it's time for the federal government to get out of funding this. And so we will continue in that vein, and I hope that your listeners will stay in touch with us at blackburn.house.gov or follow me on Twitter at Marsha Blackburn, or Facebook is Marsha Blackburn. So my hope is that they will stay with us on that and help us fight this and work to end the federal funding and to increase the state oversight of these clinics.
You know, here's the thing, Congressman, and tell me if you agree with me or not. I think that both John McCain and especially Mitt Romney missed the boat. The Democratic Party's platform on this is so far to the left, and Barack Obama's personal story on this with his history in the Chicago State Legislature and the comments he's made as president is so far to the left that it's out of sync and out of touch with the American people. If they knew his position on the Born Alive Act, if they knew the Democrat platform, but instead of presenting this and taking on the challenge and the so-called war on women charges, Romney and the Republicans, ran away from it and just shut up and let it be said and said nothing back.
Well, and we're at a time when a majority of Americans identify themselves as pro-life.
Right.
And the Democrats made this an argument about contraception. And
right.
What we are finding out is that these late-term abortions, the unwillingness of some of these clinics to provide care to babies, and I've seen some of the videos that Lila Rose or Live Action.
Yeah, we had Lila on, yeah.
Yeah, has had up, and it is just amazing. If the baby survives, and if a baby survives a botched abortion, then look,
it's a baby. It's a person.
They're a fighter.
Jeez.
And this is a child that is like our little babies that are in the NICUs. These are fighters. They are in there fighting every step of the way. And so many people, this is an area, I've got to tell you, where I think science has really helped us. So many women and so many of my friends who are having their first
sonogram. Yeah.
They're seeing their grandchild, and by the time they're 4 or 5 months old, they're seeing the features. They're doing the 3D sonograms, and they can tell what that child's going to look like. And they don't refer to this as a fetus. They refer to it as my granddaughter or my grandson.
Absolutely. And Congressman, the New York Times, as recently as yesterday, basically their first coverage of the Gosnell trial, said that he was guilty of killing 3 fetuses. I mean, that's how crazy it is.
Yes, and it is, and it is inappropriate. I think that if the major news media outlets had been reporting this trial, it would just be, people would be enraged.
Absolutely.
And so many times, I've been in my district for the weekend, and I will be talking to people, and they will say, tell me where I can find out some more information, or I read something you sent out about the Gosnell trial, but I can't find anything. They go to the website for for some of the major media outlets, and they can't find anything on it. And it's just really been interesting, the lack of coverage. So you are left in the position of asking, why are they choosing to not cover it? Is it because it is poor and minority women in underserved neighborhoods, or is it because they are trying to protect Planned Parenthood and abortion and that process?
And you think it's both or the latter?
You know, we need them to answer that question, don't we?
Yeah. All right, one more for you, Congressman. In your capacity on the committee as co-chair, the committee, Justice, Commerce and Energy and Commerce, came up with a report that was based on information gained from the largest insurance companies in the nation. And according to this report, we could see health premiums spike as much as 400% under Obamacare. Now, I got to tell you, I don't know anybody who has health insurance that is a single person or has a family and could afford to have any kind of increase in their health insurance, let alone what this report is talking about.
Well, and, you know, this is what we're seeing. You look at young, easy to insure, inexpensive to insure individuals, and you're talking about their health insurance going up 400%, so you're going to penalize them to that tune. The president had promised that the law was going to save families $2,500 per year in coming years on their health insurance. Instead, since the law was passed in 2009, insurance has gone up $3,000 per family. And then you look at what the expectation is, and most of the insurance companies that we have had in our survey show that their increase on premiums is going to average about 96%.
That is just frightening. That is just frightening. Congresswoman, a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much. I hope you'll come back.
Anytime.
All right, thank you. That's Congressman Marsha Blackburn from the great state of Tennessee, and good lady, and she is on the right side of the issues. And brace yourself, folks. First and foremost, it's going to impact doctors. It's going to impact you. It's going to impact your health care. It's going to impact jobs, employers, employees. Don't ask. All right, we're coming back. We've heard about the rise in incidents of sexual attacks in the military. Big deal was made about it the other day. How about false claims? We'll talk about that on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
You've heard the allegations on the news, and during the big game, pro football players have been using deer antler velvet to get a competitive edge. Banned at the London Games for its performance-enhancing qualities. Forbidden in major sports leagues for being an unfair advantage to athletes. Deer antler velvet is now in stock and available to try for free for a limited time only. Athletes have been using it for years for increased strength, increased endurance, muscle mass stress reduction, and yes, greatly enhanced libido. Everyone's talking about this miracle substance so powerful, it's being banned by professional sports organizations, but for a limited time, it's being made available to the general public. Best of all, you can try it for free by calling 800-678-5153. That's right, get Superior Velvet for free. If you're looking to boost your performance on the field and between the sheets, get the most powerful, proven product used by athletes for years now for free. Claim your free bottle today by calling 800-678-5153. That's 800-678-5153. Again, 800-678-5153.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of Lignet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard Lignet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is Lignet? Lignet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C. based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting. Lignet's staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton, and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and special assistant to President Ronald Reagan, Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. ambassador to Venezuela, Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Peter Hoekstra, also joined our advisory board staff. Every day, our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, Lignet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events. There are many. Every day, Lignet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on Lignet's assessments. Lignet members receive unrestricted access to Lignet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, previous analyses, and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. Lignet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what Lignet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable Lignet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join Lignet for $1. Go to lignet.com.
Are you tired of the insanity in talk radio? Well, there's a new voice during the afternoon. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Dr. Erika Schwartz will join us, and she will talk with us about the shocking revelations made today in an op-ed, I believe in the New York Times, by Angelia Jolie, not allegations, shocking revelations. I don't even know if I said revelations or allegations, that she has had a double mastectomy because she was found to have a gene that makes her prone to breast cancer, and her mom died in their 50s of that disease. So we'll talk about that. Joining us right now, though, is a man I really haven't talked to in a long time. He is a national security correspondent, Washington Times, Rowan Scarborough. Hello, Rowan. How are you?
Hey, very good, Steve.
You know, maybe it's a little deja vu or something, because tomorrow I have Donald Rumsfeld coming up here, and of course you wrote the book Rumsfeld's War, among others. So maybe there's some juxtapositioning going on there in the fate world. I don't know. But anyway, you wrote a piece the other day, and it's kind of shocking. We were told about, I think it was last week, the media was focusing on this report from the Pentagon. Everyone from the president on down weighed in on sexual assaults, on the increase, the numbers in the military. Yet you looked at something else, and you found that that's also a much faster growing problem.
Yeah, there's a number of troubling trends going on in this battle of the sexes inside the Pentagon. And I think the overview, Steve, is that for the last 20 years, we have been putting men and women in the military closer and closer together 24/7. And I think you could make the case that they have not prepared for this very well. And it is not to blame women victims or men victims, but when you do something like this, you're going to just nature is going to take its course. And then in other cases, there's going to be some friction. There's going to be disputes. And we've gotten to the point now where the Pentagon is reporting, over 3,000 cases a year, 3,000 confirmed complaints of sexual harassment, which is about double what it was 10 years ago. And then alongside this, and what I reported on, was that there's another troubling trend. The number of false complaints, unfounded complaints that are lodged against another service member are also up dramatically. In fact, they're up 34% in just the last 4 years among cases that were investigated and completed in a given year. And so this has all sorts of ramifications, too, about readiness of the force, how this affects unit cohesion and things like that. So I think it's important that the Washington Times reported the initial numbers that came out in the report about, complaints of sexual abuse are up, but then also false complaints are also up, and that's not a good trend.
No, and let me just put it in perspective, as far as the numbers from 2009 to 2012, the number of sexual abuse reports rose from 3,244 to 3,374, which is a 4% increase. Because people, they don't know what the numbers are, so that's why I'm giving you the numbers, not to say that they're little numbers, but it was a 4% increase. But during the same time period, as you point out, what the Pentagon refers to as unfounded allegations, as you allude to, rose from 331 to 444, which is a 35% increase.
Yes, we would have to track this a little closer maybe and find people who were victims of this, but that's what we know were unfounded. How many times has someone made an allegation at the unit level where they find out that the charge wasn't true, but it never became an official, and people say that is happening also. So I think the bottom line to me, Steve, is that we've had this transformation of women in the military, putting them on ships, putting them in forward operating bases in isolated areas in Iraq and Afghanistan and other places in North Africa. We've put them together in boot camp, in the academies, as I say, in ships and squadrons. Have we really prepared correctly for this? That's the question that the Pentagon needs to be asking itself when they look at these numbers. And guess what? We're about to go 4 or 5 steps farther. We are about to put women in direct ground combat. That's infantry, artillery, and special operations and armor. And that's going to bring them really, really close together. As we know, that when you're in the infantry and you deploy, you are together, foxhole, sleeping bag, forward operating base, the same barracks. And what's going to happen then? I mean, is this problem of sexual abuse going to now migrate into the combat arms and be a problem that has some effect on combat readiness? But that's what we're about to do. By May, but later this month, the services have to report to the Secretary of Defense how we plan to do this, how we plan to have women SEALs and women in.
Right.
And I go back to what I said at the beginning. The Pentagon needs to go back to square one, I believe, and look at how they've prepared the ranks for this. Look at the scandal that they had at the Air Force Training Command with instructors taking advantage of women recruits. And
Rowan, we're up against a hard break. This is fascinating stuff. We'll continue to read what you write about this, and we'll have you back, and I appreciate your time, sir.
Okay, Steve.
Thank you. Rowan Scarborough, ladies and gentlemen, national security correspondent for the Washington Times. When we come back, Dr. Erika Schwartz, the double mastectomy by Angelia Jolie. We'll talk about it on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention, if you've been classified as a high-risk driver due to DUI, DWI, or tickets for aggressive driving and are required to get expensive and hard-to-find SR22 auto insurance, then you must listen to this message because we can help. We're the largest insurance company in the U.S. specializing in SR22 auto insurance and focused on serving the needs of customers classified by the state as high-risk drivers. We help people get back on their feet by providing easy-to-get, low-cost SR22 insurance that anyone can afford. If you need SR22 auto insurance, or if you have it now and are paying too much, you need to call us today for your free quote at 800-836-4606. Our specialists are standing by waiting for your call. We understand people make mistakes, and we're here to help by making SR22 insurance easy to get and affordable for everyone. The call and quote are free. Call us now at 800-836-4606. That's 800-836-4606. Again, 800-836-4606.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency.
Do you know the #1 cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-910-3470. That's 1-800-910-3470. Call 1-800-910-3470.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
Voice of talk radio is here. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call the show at 855-777-9660. Here is Steve.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, earlier this morning, amidst all the scandal news and everything else going on, what was leading the top of most morning newscasts was the fact that Angelia Jolie, the famous, beautiful actress married to Brad Pitt, revealed that she had a double mastectomy done. She revealed this in a New York Times op-ed piece today, and the reason she did it, she's 37 years old, Academy Award winner. She did it because they found that she has a gene, a defective gene, if you will, that makes her predisposed to breast cancer, and her mother had died of breast cancer in her late 50s. So she decided that since she had an 87% risk of breast cancer and a 50% risk of ovarian cancer, she had the double mastectomy done. Joining us now to talk about this is Dr. Erika Schwartz, leading patients advocate, expert on bioidentical hormones, and author of The Hormone Solution. And you could check her out at Dr. Erika with a K, drerika.com. And Doctor, thank you for coming up. Good to meet you. All right, so explain this to me. It's pretty simple on its premise, I guess. History of it in your immediate family. Your mother has died of breast cancer at a young age, so she wants to pursue and see if she's going to suffer the same fate, or can suffer the same fate, or it's likely. So she gets what kind of test done to determine that she has this faulty BRCA1 gene?
It's a blood test
Okay.
that shows you what the genetic mutation is. But her mother died in her 50s of ovarian cancer,
Okay.
which also goes along with this problem with the BRCA mutation. the thing is, though, that having an abnormal gene, the mutation, does not mean you're going to get breast cancer. It's not a diagnosis of breast cancer or ovarian cancer, for that matter. It just says that you have a risk of developing breast cancer that's in the 80 percentile.
Right.
Over
what's
the
the
course
normal
of your
risk,
life.
by the way? What's the normal risk?
Well, it depends what age.
Okay.
The problem is that we all have an increased risk. What kills us is really aging. That's the problem. And it's not the BRCA mutation that kills us, it's aging.
Okay.
So I think that we need to put this into perspective with the understanding of, because we don't want women to get scared. The idea is that, you know, Angelina Jolie's choice was her choice. I think the fact that she opened it up to the public is a very impressive personal information that she shared, and I think that we need to take from it what's applicable to ourselves, if there is anything.
Well, we'll go there in a second, but let me ask you this, and this is what I wondered when I was driving in and heard the report. By having the mastectomy, the double mastectomy, does that naturally there's just a little bit of tissue left? I heard they can't get rid of all of it, so it really decreases the chance you'll get breast cancer. But what about the ovarian cancer? Does it affect the ovarian cancer chances or not?
No, actually, what you just said is really true. The mother died of ovarian cancer, and the ovarian cancer is more deadlier. It's worse as a cancer, and it's less able to be detected. We have mammograms, we have ultrasounds, we have MRIs that can detect breast cancer a lot earlier than we can ovarian cancer. Ovarian cancer is deadlier.
And by having the mastectomy, it doesn't affect the ovarian at all?
Not at all. It doesn't affect the ovarian cancer risk at all. But the reason she said she didn't do it, from what I read, is also the fact that she didn't do it because she thought that, and rightfully so, taking out the ovaries will put her into menopause immediately. And she's 37 years old. And then hormonally, she will be so impaired that the risk of heart disease increases tremendously. So women who have their ovaries taken out before the age of 45 are at much higher risk of heart disease than anything else. As it is, women die of heart disease primarily. About 350,000 women a year.
And you know, people hear that, but they don't really, not that they don't believe it, but they don't really realize it.
But I think that's really the most important piece of it, because 30,000 women a year die of breast cancer and breast cancer problems, related problems, in the United States a year, while 350,000 die from heart disease. So I think that we need to put that into perspective and realize that we really need to prevent. It's all about prevention, and prevent heart disease more than anything else.
Absolutely. How expensive is this blood test to do, and does insurance cover it? If there is a woman out there, or women out there listening, and God forbid, their mother died of it, their sister has it, or their grandmother had, I mean, and they want to get tested, what's the reality when it comes to cost and coverage?
Well, I think that the reality is that Angelina Jolie is in a class of her own, so that does not apply to most women. The test is about $3,000. Some insurance cover it, some insurance do not cover it. But I think that before you even do the test, you have to think about what to do with the test. And there was an interesting article in The Guardian from an English perspective from a woman who wrote today about the fact that she had a family history, really severe. Mother, grandmother, everybody died of breast cancer early on. And she went to her doctor, and the National Health Service there said, well, you know, your risk is the same as anybody else's, and which is pretty much true until you know if you're BRCA positive or not. And so she wasn't tested. And as it turns out, at the age of 45, she did get breast cancer. And at that point, they did test her, and she was BRCA negative.
Oh, really?
So I think that that's really poignant, because, you know, I have 2 daughters, and I will do anything, and I understand Angelina did it for her children. I will do anything to take care of my daughters, to protect them, for me to be there for them. But you have to really empower them, and, you know, and they follow your advice, and they follow your example. And I think the example is about prevention and about teaching them how to take care of themselves.
Well, let's talk about that. We're talking to Dr. Erika Schwartz. You could check her out at her website, drerika.com, Erika with a K, the author of The Hormone Solution. So you've talked about hormones already at length, but not at length, but you've mentioned it numerous times. So talk about it a little bit at length. What do hormones have to do with preventative measures that women could take?
Well, the interesting thing is that women have a lower incidence of breast cancer or any kind of chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and any chronic diseases of aging when they're young, in their 20s. And what's the difference between the 20s and the 50s?
Hormones.
Hormones. You got
it. I knew it. Ding, ding, ding.
You got it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what happens is that as we lose our hormones, and by the way, that applies to men too, because
that was my next question.
Prostate cancer is not prevalent in 20-year-olds.
Sure.
So what happens is that low testosterone, low hormones increase the risk of cancer. So what we want to do is put the hormones back in before they leave us altogether.
Right.
And we want to put in human identical hormones, which are hormones that are identical to the hormones we make in our 20s when we don't have any
problems. And what's the best way to do that?
The best way to do that is to get a doctor who knows what bioidentical and human identical hormones are.
And there you are.
Well, that's one of me. There are a few of me around the country.
What other kind of hormones are there other than the ones you're advocating?
The non-human identicals, also called synthetic, but they're all synthetic because they're made to not look like the hormones, like birth control pills, Premarin. Those are hormones that are not identical to what the body makes, so the body reacts negatively to them. But at the end of the day, you're better off with any hormones than without hormones.
And so a woman who's going through menopause or has gone through menopause, you would recommend hormone therapy for that woman?
Absolutely. We start before menopause, actually, and we give women estradiol, progesterone, testosterone, thyroid, which are all bioidentical, human identical hormones, so as to protect them from getting diseases.
Okay, I mean...
but that's not all there is to it.
And for men, testosterone?
Testosterone, absolutely, growth hormone. But the other thing is, thyroid is a huge problem, and we want to make sure that people get thyroid.
Right.
And then the other thing is, you want to make sure that people actually get their hormones in proper balance, and it's part of, the hormones are just part of the picture. It's diet, exercise, lifestyle, sleep, stress management. You cannot underestimate.
I was doing good till you said sleep and stress management. Then I failed.
Well, it's a killer, but it's a killer. Stress is the biggest killer.
I know.
And, not sleeping is a big killer. And, eating garbage, which is what we're doing, is a big killer. And if we do not accept that and we do not integrate that, the earlier we integrate it, the better.
You know what always threw me? You talk about these studies that they do. I don't want to throw you a curve here. that show when we turn the clock ahead and we lose an hour's sleep. And then I hear every year, every time we do it, well, so-and-so, heart attacks are going to go up by X amount because we lose an hour's sleep. And I'm like, I never get the same amount of sleep, ever. Who does?
Nobody does.
So what kind of study is that?
Well, but you shouldn't listen to the studies.
Okay.
And that's the other thing, is that statistics and studies don't take into consideration all the variables. They can't. It's impossible. So every study that we get, like one day you should eat carrots, the next day you shouldn't eat carrots, is for us to put into perspective and to realize, does it apply to me or doesn't it apply to me? And I think we all know that taking care of ourselves applies to us.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean we're going to do it all the time. We're human.
Right. No. Okay. So women who have been inundated with this Angelina Jolie story and they're scared or concerned more so now than before, they're more aware now than before. Your advice to them who are listening and watching right now?
My advice to them is to really find a good doctor, work with a good doctor, not react. Get information, see if it applies to you. Take care of yourself. Understand that you are unique and that statistics may or may not apply to you, and your life should be about taking care of yourself and really taking care of your children and not being scared. It's about quality of life. That's the most important thing, and we're missing out on it a lot because we're so afraid,
we're obsessed
and we're so
afraid,
obsessed with fear.
Yeah, no, hey, I can relate to that. Okay, you'd have a field day with me, believe me. All right, Dr. Erika Schwartz. Again, check out her website, drerika with a K.com, drerika.com, and the Hormone Solution is available wherever you get books, Amazon and all over. Great. Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate it. All right, folks, when we come back, we have some sound bites. We have some breaking news on CNN where they've obtained a copy of the investigative report into the IRS. We'll try to get you some of that and some sound bites that you may have heard already and may want to hear again or may not have heard. Either way, we're going to play them for you as the Steve Malzberg Show continues. Come back.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hey guys, do you know your testosterone level? You should. Each year, declining testosterone robs more of your energy, drive, motivation, and even your ability to perform in bed. Take control of your testosterone today. Write this number down because Progene, the leader in dual-action testosterone supplements, is now giving you a free supply if you call today at 800-592-4834. If you'd like to feel closer to 20 than 40 and get back that energy, drive, and confidence, call now to try Progene risk-free. Don't believe us? We'll even prove it works. Ask about our at-home testosterone test kits and see for yourself what Progene can do for you. Be one of the next 100 callers. We'll triple your order and send you a full 1-month supply of Progene for free. A $70 value for only the cost of shipping and handling. Call 800-592-4834 for details. Know your level and kick your drive back into gear with Progene. Call 800-592-4834. That's 800-592-4834. Again, 800-592-4834.
If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction to alcohol or drugs, then you must listen to this message because there is hope. No matter what addiction you or your loved one is coping with, you are just one phone call away from real help. Recovery Hotline makes the healing process simple and affordable by matching people to fully certified and experienced inpatient facilities that are right for their personal situations. Call 800-668-1286 now. Don't wait another day. Money does not have to be an issue. Most insurance is accepted. Just call 800-668-1286 today. Recovery Hotline's mission is to help you or someone you love begin the healing process and get back a healthy and sober life. And we can even help with family interventions and travel arrangements. One phone call is all it takes to get back the life you or your loved one deserves. The call is free. The help is real. Call 800-668-1286. That's 800-668-1286. 800-668-1286. Again, 800-668-1286.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at Aftershock2013.com. Aftershock2013.com.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price.
Scroll down now to claim your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide for the special internet offer of only $4.95.
voice of talk radio is here. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call the show at 855-777-9660. Here is Steve.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Another big news day, and I got a feeling it's going to remain this way. So tell all your friends. If you're, so many people come up to me and say, "Where are you now?" Well, here I am. Newsmax.com. You could watch the show. You could go to Newsmax.com and click on the Steve Malzberg Show. We have, I don't like to call them archives. It sounds old. But we have a past show section with all the interviews we do and the shows that we do. You could watch them. We're available on iTunes. Just put in Steve Malzberg and you could subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, you could hear it and watch it through iTunes. We're going to get on more platforms in the near future. And also, of course, XM Radio, the Great America's Talk channel, now channel number 244. It used to be a different channel. It's now 244. So that's a change in the past week or so. So tell your friends. 3 to 6 Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. Okay. Soledad O'Brien. Remember Soledad O'Brien? Yeah, boy, we used to talk about her all the time when she hosted her show in the morning. I don't even remember what it was called. Starting Point. Okay. Well, she was. She's now a visiting fellow. Isn't that sexist? How could she be a visiting fellow? She could be a jolly good fellow, I guess. So I guess she could be a visiting fellow. Anyway, at Harvard University's Graduate School of Education. And she was doing some kind of a symposium there, and with a woman named Callie Crossley, and talking about how people would come up to her on her, talk about her, comment to her about her race documentaries, Black in America, Being Black in America, What's Black in America, Who's Black in America, those documentaries. And people were uncomfortable with it or didn't like it. And who are these people? White people, of course. Or dare I say, white people, because that's acceptable now to say it that way. So here she is in cut number 26 talking about that, and you're going to hear it and see it if you're watching.
We shouldn't think of ourselves as African Americans. We're Americans, and everybody should stop separating themselves out. And I would think, first of all, it was only white people who ever said that. If we could just see beyond race. If only people didn't see race, it would be such a better place. And you are responsible for bringing up these icky race issues, Soledad. You should just let sleeping dogs lie. And I was like, again, okay, white person, this is a conversation that you're clearly uncomfortable with, and I have no problem seeing race, and I think we should talk about race.
All right, it's almost like, I don't even know. I won't even say what the topic would be. Say I'm on the radio, maybe she wouldn't do this on TV, I don't know, maybe she would. But say I'm giving a speech somewhere, okay. And we're talking about something that I do that gay people aren't thrilled with, or something that I've done that black people aren't thrilled with, or that purple people aren't thrilled with. But let's keep it real. Blacks or gays, okay, for the sake of argument. And so I'm now talking about how, people come up to me and they don't really like what I've done, this program I've done, or this documentary I've done, or whatever. And I say, and of course it's black people. And then I say, again, hello, black person. Or it's gay people that come up to me and say, and of course it's always gay people, and once again, gay person. It's just, you see how it's acceptable when she says it about white people, but how awkward and ridiculous, and probably I'd be viewed as racist or homophobic if I said it about blacks or gays respectively. You understand what I'm trying to bring out here? More of the same. More of the same. I've documented to all of you how since the last election, since the first attacks on Susan Rice by old white men, Lindsey Graham and John McCain, that's what all the news media said. A couple of old white men. Like, that's evil all of a sudden. So it's acceptable for Soledad O'Brien to sit at Harvard, and I don't know if this was being filmed or whatnot, but obviously somebody was filming it, and talk about how white people object to this, and hello, white person, the objector. So, but could somebody, would somebody who's white or whatever say that about blacks or gays? Yeah, it just, if they did, they'd be taken to task for it. But, it's only people like me taking her to task for what she said, because the mainstream media would never touch it. That's acceptable. You gotta, folks, if you're a white man, over the age of 50 especially, And they could call you old, which 50 I don't think is old anymore, but hey, it's not young, but you're an old white guy, and that's the worst thing you could be now. It's awful. It implicit in that is racist and bigot and non-bending and rigid and sour, and it's all encompassed in that, and the media says it, old white guys. Like that's a negative now. So, what can I tell you? So that's Soledad. That's Soledad. Now, well, there's to make my point, I think was a cut 20. I have it. So 25. This is a Nancy Snyderman cut from NBC or MSNBC, and she was talking about, I don't even know who she was talking about. Maybe the cut will refresh my memory. But listen how she describes these two people who were, I guess, anti-abortion and pro-life. Cut 25.
And I want to just sort of say goodbye to you by pointing out that Stupak and Henry Hyde, the two amendments that restrict a woman's right to choose, are both white men telling women about reproduction. So on that happy note, I will bid you a good day, and thanks for spending time with me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, that was back in 2009. They were talking about how the IRS should be sicked on conservative groups and like the Catholic Church, okay? But you see, Henry Hyde, and I didn't even hear what she said. I just want to let you know, it was two white guys who were responsible for their input on women's reproductive rights. White guys. What does that even matter? White guys. Shouldn't the point be it's two men, if she's making that point, impeding women's reproductive rights? But it's two white guys. And, of course, Henry Hyde is dead. I got to tell you, I didn't hear who the other person was. But white guy. See, that's the new pejorative. If you're a white guy, you're a bad. There's something wrong with you, man. Let me tell you a story here. This is really crazy. It's freaking me out. Will Smith was brought up by a military father who expected him to be seen and not heard. This is the Fox News story. But the upbringing that he and his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, are giving their own children, Jaden and Willow, could hardly be more different. They don't punish them, instead letting them make their own decisions. And actor Jaden, that's the 14-year-old son of Will Smith, has decided that for his 15th birthday in July, he would like the gift of freedom. Freedom from his parents and to be able to live in a home of his own. He wants to be emancipated. Watch if my head could spin, whoosh, it would spin. Will is 44. He revealed to The Sun, quote, he says, "Dad, I want to be emancipated. I know if we do this, he can be an emancipated minor because he really wants to have his own place." That's the backlash. On the other side, if kids just want to have command of their lives, I understand. Is this a publicity stunt? Because now him and his son are going to be seen in their second sci-fi film, After Earth. It's called After Earth. I don't understand. A kid has a right to be emancipated? My kid's 13. If he says he wants a place of his own, if I could afford one, which I can't, I'd say, what, are you out of your mind? Grow up. Too bad. And then I'll lock him in his room. But I don't even understand what this story is. But the kid wants to live on his own and be emancipated from his parents. I kid you not. That's how crazy. Hey, and Will Smith is considering it. It's not a bad thing. You know, he's 14. After all, he'll be 15. He should be able to bring girls home and smoke what he wants and do what he wants, right? Remember, kids don't belong to their parents. Melissa Harris Perry on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg